The first thing she felt was warmth. Not the sterile hum of a medical pod, not the cold grit of a battlefield, but a gentle, living warmth. Then, a small, soft weight settled on her chest. It was breathing. A pair of enormous, glossy eyes blinked down at her, far too close. "You're awake!" A little alien cub squeaked, his downy ears flaring in delight. "I missed you!" Commander Alara Voss tried to sit up, but her muscles screamed in protest. Memories rushed back in a torrent gunfire, smoke, her squad's retreat, and a tiny, fur-covered form crying in the rubble. The cub. She had thrown herself over him just as the roof collapsed. She remembered the pain, and then nothing. But now she was here, alive. Her human instincts took over. "Kidda cub, where are we?" "Are you hurt?" "No," he chirped proudly. "You saved me. The healers fixed you, but you slept for many cycles. I guarded you." He puffed out his little chest as if he'd personally fought off an entire armada. Her heart squeezed. What an adorable, ridiculous creature. She scanned the room. Smooth stone walls, bioluminescent moss casting a blue-green light, and intricate woven fabrics. This wasn't human tech. This wasn't human anything. Where am I? He grinned. Home. Minutes later, she stood wobbling before towering figures with sweeping horns and layered robes. The Zirithi, a reclusive species known for their fierce territorial behavior and cold distrust of outsiders. Not exactly ideal hosts. The eldest stepped forward, his voice low and resonant. "You risked your life for one of our young. No human has done such a thing for a Zirithi in our recorded history." Alara swallowed. He was in danger. Anyone would have done the same. "Incorrect," another elder said sharply. "Your species is known for aggression, unpredictability, and explosiveness." The cub tugged at Ilara's sleeve protectively. "She is not explosive," he declared, crossing his tiny arms. A long silence fell over the chamber. Then, another elder hissed in surprise. "He has imprinted on her," Ilara blinked. "He what?" The eldest elder sighed deeply, rubbing the sides of his horns. "The child has chosen you as his guardian. This bond is not easily undone." Before she could respond, the cub hopped into her arms like a furry comet. "See? You are mine. I said so while you were asleep," Ilara muttered to herself. "Oh boy." Word of the human walking freely through a Zirithi village sent shockwaves through the populace. Some stared, some hid, and some snarled warnings. But all of them noticed the little cub, Tiri, clinging to her leg, his tail swaying. Ilara was given a small room, essentially under house arrest, but Tiri refused to leave her side. When she sat, he climbed into her lap. When she stood, he latched onto her leg. When she ate, he stole food right off her plate. "You are very slow," Tiri said one day, watching her struggle to regain her strength. "I'm healing. You should heal faster." "That's not how bodies work." "Mine does." She couldn't help but laugh. "Well, aren't you special?" "Yes," he agreed immediately. But her recovery wasn't peaceful for long. On the fourth day, shouts erupted from the edge of the village. The ground trembled. A hunting party burst from the forest, wounded and panicked. Behind them was something massive. A Ravager staga, territorial predator twice the height of a human, its antlers like jagged obsidian blades. It had followed the hunters back. Zirithi warriors scrambled to form a defensive line. Children screamed. Elders herded civilians to safety. Tiri froze beside her. Ilara did not. "Get behind me," she commanded. But no arguments move. Tiri obeyed, trembling. The warriors fought bravely, but the stag was enraged. It sent one warrior crashing into a wall. Another staggered back, bleeding. Ilara saw an opening the creature's softer underneck, exposed when it roared, but she had no weapons, just her body. Just her humanity. She ran, straight at it. Time slowed as she leaped, snatching a fallen spear from the dirt mid-stride. The Ravager turned, jaws opening in a screech. She rolled beneath it, thrusting the spear upward with every ounce of her strength. It slid between the beast's armor plates. The creature shrieked, throwing her back hard. But the warriors rushed in, finishing the job. Pain shot through her ribs, but she pushed herself up. The entire village stared in stunned silence. Humans were aggressive, yes. Unpredictable, yes. Explosive. Well, maybe a little, but they were also protectors. Thierry ran to her, burying his face in her stomach. You came back, he whispered. You always come back. She ruffled his fur. Yeah, always. That evening, the elders bowed to her, a sight no human had ever witnessed. You have defended the Zirithi twice, the eldest said. First our young, then our home, Ilara swallowed, trying to catch her breath. Your people were in danger. Thierry was in danger. I couldn't just stand there. The elder nodded gravely. We misjudged your kind. We misjudged you. If this is the heart of humanity, then perhaps peace is possible. Thierry clung to her arm. She stays, he demanded. The elders exchanged glances. Perhaps, the eldest said, the universe would benefit from more warriors who fight not for glory, but for the small, the helpless, and the heart bonds they forge. Ilara smiled, exhaustion washing over her. I'm just doing what feels right. Thierry nuzzled into her side. I missed you, he murmured again, softer this time. She held him close. Yeah, she whispered back. I missed you too. And somewhere deep within an alien village, humanity gained its first true ally. Not through treaties or negotiations, but through one woman who refused to let a child face danger alone. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Tala woke to the low hum of a ship's engines, the vibration running through the cot beneath her. For a moment she forgot where she was, until she saw the soft glow of human lights, warm-toned instead of the harsh blue luminance of her own people. And then she remembered the words she'd heard as consciousness slipped away. Stay with us, or walk away. But you must choose who you stand with. She sat upright. Her ribs still ached where the blast had struck, but they were bound with careful human bandages and a layer of medical gel she didn't recognize. A scent lingered on them, something sweet like warm bark and spices. A human child peered in from the hallway, wide-eyed, clutching a steaming mug that wobbled dangerously. You're awake! Captain said to bring this to you. The cub, small, round-faced, absurdly soft, offered the mug, as if delivering a priceless artifact. Hot chocolate. It helps. Tala stared at it. You drink melted plants? And sugar. The child announced proudly. Tala accepted it out of politeness, sniffed it, burned her tongue, and promptly coughed. The cup gasped. You drank it wrong. I didn't know there was a right way. The child giggled and swung their feet. Captain said you might be confused. He said aliens always are when they first wake up here. Tala blinked slowly. Aliens, you know I could crush your bones with 2 fingers. Captain said you wouldn't, the child replied simply, as though it were an immutable law of the universe. Tala set the mug aside, unsettled. Footsteps approached, heavy, deliberate, unmistakably human. Captain Rheon appeared, grease on his sleeves and a datapad tucked under his arm. His expression was calm, but his eyes carried the weight of someone who had spent hours thinking about what he needed to say. You're stable, he said. Good, we need to talk. Tala stiffened. You said I needed to choose. Rheon nodded. Your people left you. Ours dragged you from the rubble after you shielded one of our kids. Command wants to know if you're a threat. My crew wants to know if you're staying, and His jaw flexed. I want to know why you took a blast meant for a human cub. Tala looked at the child beside her, small hands gripping the bedrail, trusting her without hesitation. My people teach that predator offspring are to be eliminated, Tala said quietly. I saw no predator. Only a frightened cub, she exhaled. I acted. Rheon studied her as if seeing a shape he'd never understood before. Your people are preparing for war, Tala, against us. If you stay here, you'll be branded a traitor. I already am. His expression softened. Then hear me clearly. If you stay with us, you're choosing us, not temporarily, not conditionally. You choose who you stand with, and if I leave, we take you home, he said. We don't harm you. We don't imprison you. Humans don't force loyalty. But a war is coming, and I won't have you caught in the middle. The child tugged at Rheon's coat. She saved me. Doesn't that make her part of the crew? Rheon huffed a soft laugh. It's not that simple, but Tala felt something shift, something unfamiliar. Among her own people, she had been a tool, a soldier, a calculating weapon. Here, a cub argued for her place. A captain treated her as someone capable of choice. She rose unsteadily from the bed. Rheon stepped forward instinctively to help her, but she waved him off. My people fear you, she said. Not because you are monsters, but because you are unpredictable. You form bonds easily. You protect even strangers. You confuse them. We confuse everyone, the child chirped proudly. Tala inhaled slowly. If I stand with you, it will be against my entire species. Rheon didn't look away. Then let your choice be your own. The humming of the engines seemed to fade. The ship felt impossibly quiet. Tala looked at the child, the one she'd shielded without hesitation. Then at Rheon, waiting, not pressuring, not threatening. Humans were dangerous, unstable, illogical, but they were also loyal. And they had saved her life. She straightened to her full height. Captain Rheon. I choose. Rheon nodded once solemnly. Then from this moment on, he said, extending a hand, you stand with us. Tala clasped his forearm, her people's gesture of binding oath. I stand with you. A new war loomed. But for the first time in her life, Tala knew exactly where she belonged. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button. And subscribe for more amazing sci-fi tales just like this one. We'll see you in the next video. The ship's corridor lights dimmed as Tala followed Captain Rheon toward the bridge. Her steps were steady now, though every movement reminded her how fragile she had felt just hours prior, bleeding, confused, and surrounded by humans who should have been her enemies. Now she walked with them. The child, Rheon's niece, apparently skipped beside her with a confidence that was borderline reckless for one so small. Uncle said we're gonna show you the stars from the bridge. They're super pretty. Humans see 12 primary spectra, but your species sees 16, so you're gonna see extra pretty stars. Tala blinked. You measure beauty in wavelengths? The child grinned. Uncle says everything looks better when you know how to look at it. Humans, Tala thought, impossible creatures. When they reached the bridge, the crew turned to stare. Not with fear, though. Tala caught hints of tension, but with the taut curiosity of those gauging whether a wolf had truly chosen to lie beside the fire. Rheon stepped ahead. Everyone, he announced. Tala has chosen to stand with us. Murmurs rippled across the crew. A few nodded, one or two stiffened. And a scarred engineer muttered, hell of a week we're having. Tala placed a hand on her chest, a gesture of respect in her culture. I understand your hesitation, but I made my choice. Before anyone could respond, the comm station chimed, an urgent, sharp tone that cut the air like a blade. Captain! The comms officer said, we're receiving a message. Encryption format. Hers. All eyes turned to Tala. Put it through, Rheon ordered. The screen flickered. A face appeared, Commander Veskara of Tala's own unit. Her former superior, her mentor. The closest thing she'd ever had to a mother. Veskara's voice was low, cold, precise. Tala of Strike Division, you abandoned your position. You shielded a human offspring. Her eyes narrowed. And now you stand aboard their vessel. Tala's throat tightened. Commander, let me expel. You will listen. Veskara leaned closer, her expression carved from stone. Your actions have shamed your entire bloodline. Your sentence is death. The bridge went silent. The child clutched Tala's sleeve. They can't do that. Tala didn't look away from the screen. Commander, I did what I believed was right. Then you are dead to us. Veskara lifted a small device, a signal beacon. Return now and your death will be swift. Stay with them, and it will be slow. The transmission cut. The bridge remained frozen, tension thick enough to choke on. Finally Rheon spoke. She didn't sound like someone negotiating. Tala's breath trembled. She forced it steady. There will be no negotiations. My people do not tolerate deviation. She glanced around. They will come for me. And for us, the scarred engineer said grimly. Rheon tapped the console, bringing up tactical scans. She was bluffing about one thing she won't strike yet. Your people never execute without ceremony. They'll want to reclaim you publicly. To make an example, Tala confirmed. The child tugged her sleeve again, voice small now. Are you scared? Tala knelt to meet their eyes. Fear is new to me, she exhaled slowly. But I'm not leaving. Rheon folded his arms. Good, because if they want you, they'll have to go through us. A few crew members exchanged looks, some worried, some resolute. Humans, once they accepted someone as their own, were notorious for their unreasonable loyalty. And unreasonable dangers, Tala straightened. Captain, my people will track this vessel by residual signature. I know their methods. I can help, Rheon nodded. Then you're on the team. We move in 6 hours. The crew dispersed into motion-adjusting power cores, recalibrating shields, running silent protocols. Tala watched them, unsettled by a heavy emotion she couldn't yet name. Belonging. She felt it when the engineer tossed her an extra datapad. She felt it when the navigation specialist asked her opinion. She felt it when the child squeezed her hand without fear. 6 hours later, in the dim hangar bay, Tala stood beside Rheon as he mapped escape routes on a holo display. They won't stop, she said quietly. I know, he answered. They will kill anyone protecting me. I know. She looked at him, this stubborn, irrational, loyal human. You risk everything. Why? Rheon didn't hesitate. Because you chose us. And humans stand by those who stand by us. Her chest tightened. For the first time since her exile began, Tala felt something like hope. Outside, in the void, her people were already hunting. But inside this ship, among these impossible humans, she had something she'd never had before. A side worth fighting for. And a family worth dying for. The hangar bay vibrated with the low rumble of the ship, shifting into silent running mode. The lights dimmed to a menacing red glow, and the air itself felt thicker, tense, as if holding its breath. I stood beside a crate of weapons, staring at my own reflection in a polished panel of plating. I barely recognized the face staring back. This version of me had human bandages wrapped tightly around her ribs, a datapad tucked beneath her arm, and the faint sweet scent of hot chocolate still clinging to her fingers. I was no longer just a weapon for my people. I was something new, something I didn't even have a name for yet. But the universe wasn't waiting for me to figure it out. The bay doors slid open with a hiss. Captain Rheon strode in, armored vest strapped on, his jaw set with that grim determination humans are disturbingly good at wearing. The child wasn't with him. I knew the little one had been sent to the safest section of the ship. Though safe is a very relative term when a warship is hunting you across the void. Rheon stopped right in front of me. Scans just picked up a distortion, he said, his voice low. Your people are arriving, my pulse quickened. One ship? I asked. He shook his head. 3, probably a recon wing. That was a small mercy. My people had brought only scouts. If they decided I wasn't worth reclaiming intact, the execution vessels would be next. What is your plan? I asked. Rheon looked at me, and for a moment, his expression softened. Our plan, he corrected. I gave a single sharp nod. We can't outrun them, he continued, his voice practical. Their engines are faster, we can't outgun them. And we can't outmaneuver them for long. My logic circuits flared. Then you intend to die? I challenged. He just smirked. Not today. He tapped the holo projector on his wrist, and a 3-dimensional star map unfolded, shimmering in the red-tinted air. We're jumping, he said. Blind. My eyes widened. Through the Nebula Rift? That region is unstable. Your ship could tear apart. It could, Rheon agreed easily. Or the turbulence might scramble their sensors long enough for us to vanish. I studied the map, the cold calculus of probability running through my mind. The probability of survival is low. With you on board? Rheon countered. It's higher than it was yesterday. The words hit me like a physical blow. He trusted me. Completely. Irrationally. Humanly. Before I could even process that, the ship's alarm blared. A cold, synthesized voice echoed through the ship. Contact. 3 vessels closing. The crew's voices crackled through the comms. Shields up! Power to aft batteries! Brace for kinetic lock. Rheon grabbed my arm. Bridge. Now. We sprinted through the corridors as the ship shuddered, caught in the targeting grip of enemy scanners. Blue sparks rippled through the hull, a sign my people were gathering telemetry for precision strikes. Rheon, I warned, my breath catching. Once they have a full lock, they will open fire without hesitation. He didn't even break his stride. They always hesitate when we do something stupid. I couldn't help but argue. Humans do stupid things constantly, he grinned. Exactly. We burst onto the bridge. The chaos was controlled, focused. Captain! The navigation officer shouted over the din. They're demanding you surrender the alien traitor. I stiffened. Traitor. Rheon replied calmly into the comms. Tell them we're busy. The crew actually grinned despite the tension. Humans, I thought, were the only species in the galaxy who laughed under the threat of total annihilation. Jump drive primed, someone called out. Vectors unstable, another warned immediately after. Rheon turned to me, his eyes intense. Your people use a distortion weapon to scan planetary crusts, right? I was confused. Yes. Why? Because, he said, a wild look in his eyes. We're about to imitate it. I blinked. Captain! That could rupture the ship. War! He countered. The burst will make us temporarily invisible on their sensors. They'll think we detonated. The crew looked at him with a mixture of awe and absolute horror. I felt something rise in my chest, fear, yes, but also a strange, thrilling certainty. I will calibrate the pulse, I declared, stepping forward. Your systems are not built for this. You need my precision, Rheon nodded once. Go. I moved to the engineering console, my fingers flying over the unfamiliar human controls. I rerouted energy, adjusted the harmonic spread, and set the burst to mimic the exact decay curve my people used for their deep scan weapons. Ready, I called out. Initiate on my mark? The enemy ships appeared on the main display, 3 sleek, deadly spear-shaped vessels, closing in like wolves scenting blood. I felt the weight of my past and the certainty of my future balancing on a knife's edge. Mark! Rheon slammed the command pad. The ship convulsed. A shockwave of distorted space rippled outward, bright and blinding. The console sparked. Lights burst. The bridge plunged into near darkness as the ship bucked violently, tearing through the very fabric of normal space. And then, silence. The stars outside shifted, unfamiliar and blessedly empty. The navigation officer gasped. We made it! No pursuit! We're off their grid! The crew erupted in relieved cheers. I let out a shaky breath I didn't know I was holding. Rheon turned to me and grinned. Told you we weren't dying today. I shook my head, completely overwhelmed. Captain? That was reckless, irrational, impossible. He just laughed. Yeah, he said. That's humanity for you. And in that moment, something warm settled deep in my chest. For the first time since choosing them, I realized something profound. I hadn't chosen wrong. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more.